Please note that this content is for adults only. Viewer discretion advised. If you haven't yet, hit the subscribe, like, and share. Hello everyone and welcome back to another live stream with me, GrizzledK. This is Grizzly True Crime, and today we are looking at a new case out of Indiana. So Arlington, Indiana, very small community. I believe about 300 people, and a very sad case that I hadn't heard about this case until yesterday. And I find that really sad. It's been very mysterious. The family has a group on Facebook. They'd been asking for help all this time since June 7th of 2023. And I just didn't see it. I haven't seen much reporting on it. So we are here to talk about it today, though. And it's pretty scary based on the person they arrested and the circumstances. So we're going to take it from the top, okay? We're going to be looking at everything. I hope that you can hear me okay. Mic check. All right. I hope that you're all warm and you're having a good day, depending on where you are. Of course, if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, lots of South Africans here as well. Australians, for you, obviously, it's like spring, you know? Spring going into summer. For us here in the Northern Hemisphere, it's freaking freezing. So welcome to all my mods, patrons, members, and everyone. If you haven't yet subscribed, I hope that you will consider subscribing. Over here at Grizzly True Crime, we like deep dives, documents, and we got documents today. That's why I'm 3 minutes late, because a new document just came in. And my eyes were like saucers reading that I'm just like, what? Oh my word. So we're gonna be reading those documents, okay? We like press conferences with boosted audio, all of those things. So if that's what you like and you're brand new here, I hope that you will subscribe, like, and share the video. Hashtag Grizzly True Crime would be great as well. And let me just quickly show you this over here. You can use hashtag Valerie Tindall as well. I'm putting the spelling on the screen so that you can, it's also in my title. So there we go. Okay, are we ready? So we will be doing a presentation. I'm going to give you all the details that I've found. I've been in this rabbit hole for a while now. I know you didn't see me yesterday. Now you know why. I wanted to find everything. So we're going to do a presentation. We're going to be looking at the press conference from yesterday. I see people are still confused that it's today. It's not today. It was yesterday at 2 p.m. We'll look at that press conference from yesterday, what the police said. We're going to look at Valerie's parents' statements to the media as well. And then we're diving into documents, which really have a lot of detail. So do brace yourself, okay? Welcome to all the new members. Welcome, Aisha. And here we go. All right. Thank you. Yeah, Stefan, that's it. Thank you for showing the Grizzlies which hashtags to use there. Really appreciate it. Okay, and quickly, let me just see if any of you have heard of this case before. On the poll, 14% said yes, but let's deep dive it. 13% yes, but only a bit. Let's hear. And 72% of you guys have never heard of this case. Well, after today, you're going to know exactly what happened. Well, everything we know so far. Okay. So Valerie Tindall, she was 17 years old. It was actually her 18th birthday in August, I believe on the 29th. It's on my next slide to get the exact date. Let me check here. Yeah, she would have turned 18 on August 29th. Shame. And she was last seen leaving her home in Arlington, Indiana on June 7th of 2023, around noon. She drove off in her green Honda Accord, smiling at her dad, and she was described as being in a really good mood. She texted her boss and neighbor, so you heard that right, her neighbor was also her boss for the summer months. She worked for him over the summer months, okay? She texted him and said, and he's 59-year-old Patrick Scott, and she texted at 11:23 a.m. on that date, June 7th, 2023. She said, "I'll be there soon." Her family never saw her again. Oh my goodness. This case is very hectic. So, Valerie was born on August 29th of 2005 to Sheena Sandifer and Jack Tindall. She was the middle child. Her mother said that Valerie had experienced trauma at a young age, so the family moved to the countryside. They used to live in Indianapolis, I believe, and they moved out of the city to escape the violence. She attended Rushville Consolidated High School, and while in the past her grades weren't so good, her parents said that they were so proud of her because she'd been working on them and was getting A's and B's. She'd also applied to college and had been accepted, and she really wanted to be a vet. She loved animals. She was looking to volunteer at shelters, I think based on notes that I saw that her mom shared on social media. And there's actually quite a few pictures on her Facebook account where you can see her with animals, with bunnies and dogs and cats. So she had a bright future ahead of her. Thank you, Tanya. I really appreciate it. So then she went to this Rushville Consolidated High School, right? Just think about it. 17 years old, still in high school, about to turn 18, like literally entire life ahead of her, and just doing a summer job with the neighbor. And he had a lawn care business. Oh, man. So she was friends with this neighbor, Patrick Scott, the 59-year-old guy that lived literally next door, right? Well, actually, they said across the road, but known as neighbors. And her parents said she had a bond with him, with Patrick. And while she worked with him that summer, they were considered friends. To me, I would say I always like to learn from these cases, and that would be a bit of a red flag, right? That a 59-year-old man wants to be friends with a 17-year-old girl. You know what I mean? So these pictures were apparently found in her drawers, and her parents were under the impression that she was going to an aquarium in Newport, Kansas, which is pretty far away. I believe, let me just quickly look at the map again. I mean, it's like over 100 miles away. Newport Aquarium. They were under the impression that she was going to go with Patrick and his wife, and maybe even his kids. He's married, you know, with children and grandchildren. He's a grandpa. Okay? I say it like that based on what I know about the case, which you'll know about as well. But based on these pictures, doesn't look like anyone else was there with them that day. From Facebook, I've got screenshots there on the right that says, the mom said 3 weeks ago that she and the father okayed the trip to Newport. I have the screenshot. So people were saying that on the Facebook group for this case because they're saying, well, did he just take her there and the parents didn't know, or did they know? And they say, no, they knew. I mean, they knew about him. This was like a family friend, you know? So that's pretty scary. So that's him standing there. Now listen to this. This is another screenshot from an article that says she come home one day and that she said that he had her on his Life 360 family plan. He was tracking her every move. Yes, the neighbor, the guy with the lawn care company that she was working for the summer, decided he's going to track her everywhere she went. And so her mom says, which I didn't even know what it was. And I said, what is that? And she says, where he tracks their phone, because they all had the iPhone. And I said, why does he have you on that? You're not his family. Why is he tracking you? And she said, I don't know. I don't see anything wrong with it. And she said, really? Like, you don't see nothing wrong with that? I thought that was really peculiar. And then he would call my husband every time she was out doing something and tell him, oh, she's out here. She's out there. Like, he was upset about it. Almost as if he wanted her over here. Meaning, he added her to the Life 360 app, tracked her movements, and when she was out with boys or visiting friends, he didn't like it, and he went as far as calling her dad and saying, do you know that she's out there? Do you know that she's out visiting this late now? That's really very hectic, isn't it? Goodness me. Okay, so that is another red flag. I mean, it sounds like he became very obsessed with her, I would speculate. Yeah, Tamara says, oh wow, that's way out of line. Oh my goodness. So Valerie's family said that they started to get a bit concerned with Patrick's attachment to their daughter. He was acting like a jealous boyfriend. A 59-year-old dad, husband, grandpa with a 17-year-old girl, neighbor, and he's acting this way, tracking her every move, phoning her dad, getting angry about it, like, where is she? I'm just going to say thank you to everyone for the stickers. I will check them out later. Mods, if you can help me thank them, because we have a lot to work through today. Okay, so I'm just going to keep powering through. Okay. Timeline. So I wanted to show you this because, of course, I want to, I want to deep dive everything and find out everything. So this picture was shared on social media. And so someone on Facebook said, is that a recent photo? I'm just curious because I'm not accusing or talking crap. It almost looks like she's pregnant in this picture. And her mom said it wasn't long before she left. And so they say, this other person says a few things, and her mom later says, so this guy Jacob says, so you all think she's pregnant? And her mom actually says yes. Wow. So that was interesting, which I would speculate either he was inappropriate with her and got her pregnant and had to eliminate his problem, or he was obsessed with her and jealous and someone else got her pregnant if she was pregnant. Her mom is speculating, yes, that they thought she was, okay? So just keep that in mind. They're speculating, so now I'm speculating, well, if she was this guy jealous, or did he need to not be caught out for what he was doing? Who knows? If he was doing that, I'm just saying. Okay, so now, June 7th of 2023. Valerie texted Patrick at 11:23 a.m. saying, I'll be there soon. She left home for work around noon. Her dad said she was in a great mood. She smiled, waved, and then drove off in a green Honda Accord to meet Patrick at a job site. But guess what? She didn't work on a Wednesday usually. And whenever she did work, she usually drove with Patrick. So her working on a day when she didn't usually work and driving her own car to meet him at a job site, now in hindsight, of course, is a red flag. He also didn't usually work at that site on Wednesdays. So, wow, okay. He usually drove his truck and trailer to the job sites, and on this day, his truck and another car of his were there, which means he drove his truck and trailer there in advance. That's apparently what he said based on the documents I had, and then later drove another car there. But then how did he get back and all of that? Who knows? But that shows speculatively premeditation, right? Tida says groomer vibes. MC says Newport Aquarium is in Kentucky, not Kansas. Oh, wait. I just quickly want to see here. Newport. I've just got Newport KY. Is that Kentucky? There you go. Thank you so much. MC and PC. You're right. It is in Kentucky, not Kansas. Okay. So these are all big concerns that the FBI, when they got on board, started looking at all this, and the US Marshals, right? So her phone last pinged back in Arlington, and cameras caught his maroon or red. Sometimes I say red, sometimes maroon. We get the gist of the color. A Ford Taurus with her in it. So he claims, no, she met him there. He first actually said he didn't see her that day. But he claims she met him there, and then she wanted him to drop her off somewhere to meet another male, and then he went home. But then in police interviews, they were like, no, we saw you on camera. She was in your car, and her phone last pinged actually near your house. And he's like, what? So someone who lived at the apartment at that job site where he asked her to meet him overheard Patrick telling Valerie that he was going to take her to lunch, that he was taking her someplace special. Apparently in Indianapolis, which is a triggering place for her, from what I'm understanding, because the mom said she had trauma there. They moved, to Arlington to get away from the violence and to start new. So if he's saying, I want to take you somewhere special and to Indianapolis, he didn't take her there from what we know, but that's pretty scary, But thank goodness these neighbors who overheard things and saw things, they said something. It really helped the case. I saw that from all the social media posts. Valerie's mom was saying, "Thank you so much. This helped a lot." Okay. When Sheena, her mom, got back home from work, she was concerned that Valerie wasn't home yet, especially on a day when she didn't usually work. So she called friends and neighbors, and then eventually she called the police to report her missing. She was thinking, well, did she run away or what happened here? Like, why would this happen? This is not like her at all, right? So then on June 10th of 2023, a silver alert went out. I think it eventually became an amber alert, actually. They said a statewide silver alert had been declared for Valerie Tindall, 17, who's believed to be in extreme danger. She was last seen on Wednesday, June 7th, 2023, at 12 p.m. in Arlington, Indiana, driving a green 2000 Honda Accord with Indiana license plate ZYK833. She's 5'6" tall, weighs 162 pounds, has brown hair with hazel eyes, and was last seen wearing a light blue shirt, jeans, shorts, and sandals. And there's the Rush County Sheriff's Department. The number is still, you can still call the number if you know anything. If you are local, or you live nearby, or you saw something you were passing through, please do call it in, because any tip right now would still help a lot. So guess what? Shortly after Valerie went missing, her sister and brother-in-law saw Patrick tearing down and burning his garage at 2 a.m. I read on social media in the comments section, so I take it with a grain of salt, when it's from Facebook and things, but they said that it was a day after she went missing. There was Patrick in his backyard tearing down his garage and burning it. And it made this pile of rubble. And so, spoiler alert, they found a barrel under that pile of rubble where he burnt this garage down, and human remains were found inside. Okay, which they believe to be Valerie, although the coroner is still going to, do the 100% confirmation. Do you know what'll be scary? Is if it isn't Valerie. But based on the probable cause affidavit, the police reports, and everything that I've just gotten today, thank you to that court clerk. She's so friendly, so nice, so efficient. Oh my word. I wish that all counties and states worked like that. It was really nice. So based on that, he has explained what happened. Okay, you could hear he may have twisted the story a bit. We'll go through it. But he's saying that he killed Valerie. So, and he's explaining the box and everything. But it was under that pile of rubble. So there again, a neighbor also noticed this and actually took a video recording. If you see something, say something. If something is super sus and you got that gut feel to record it, rather record it. Right? Okay. Thank you all for being here, by the way. This is going to be very intense coverage. I'm very focused here because we've got a lot to work through. So when we watch the press conference, I'll read much more of your comments. Okay. A silver alert is a public notification, I guess people are asking in the chat, in the United States to broadcast information about missing persons. So like a minor in extreme danger, that alert went out. So the Rush County Sheriff's Department put out a press release at the time, and they said, "We are asking the public to help find Valerie and her vehicle. We are requesting property owners between Shelbyville and Homer or Arlington that have deep creek beds, low-level fields, ravines, and properties off a roadway that the vehicle could be hidden on or in barns or other buildings. Also, when you are traveling, be on the lookout for areas where the vehicle could have left the roadway and not be seen easily. We believe it's possible that Valerie has been receiving aid from individuals whose goal is to keep her hidden. The RCPD is asking that everyone remain vigilant and keep on the lookout for anyone matching Tindall's description." That must have been so scary for her family to hear that as well, right? Yes, thank you so much, Barker. You say the age of consent in Indiana is 16. It can go as low as 14 if within 4 years. Oh my goodness. That's pretty scary, right? So this was the press release that went out, okay? June 29th of 2023. Guess what? They located Valerie's car. But they didn't tell her parents until August. Shame. But they couldn't because they didn't want to tip off whoever left a car there. So the FBI and the US Marshals were working on a low profile behind the scenes. The FBI and US Marshals were part of the investigation, kept a low profile. Valerie's car was located and her parents were told about this in August. Patrick was arrested then and charged with a misdemeanor count of false informing because they caught him out in his lies. Because he said he didn't see Valerie that day. He told her mother she didn't work that day. They were like, what? She left for work. She texted you. And you're saying she didn't work that day? You didn't see her that day? And then lady's like, okay, I did see her, but only for a bit. And lady's like, okay, we went to a job site. And so the police charged him with a misdemeanor count of false informing. He had a $10,000 bond, and he bailed out apparently at 10% cash. Okay? So he did not ever help search for Valerie, but his wife actually printed flyers and was driving around Shelbyville and handing out flyers and things like that. So I see two trains of thought on social media, as we usually see, right, in these cases, where some people think, well, how could the wife not have known any of this? Or imagine the other side. Imagine if she absolutely knew nothing and was really trying to help and just put out the flyers and everything like that. The scary thing is that Patrick and his wife would go over to the house even that night, the very night that Valerie disappeared. They went over to the house. This guy went over to the house to console the parents, to say, don't you worry, she will be found, she'll come home soon, and all of that. Yet he told police, well, she wanted to run away forever, so I just helped her move her car. Yeah, Janet Murphy says, can't wait to see his Google searches. And sorry to disappoint, he didn't go to Walmart, but he did go to Home Depot, and we'll find that out later. The usual. He bought a tarp and duct tape and stuff like that, but at Home Depot, okay? So, yeah, he didn't ever help search, but he was sure out there, consoling the family. Also, notice my arrow that I made there for you. He removed the license plate and told police that he chucked it in a river. He just doesn't remember which one, but he removed it. But in his initial police interviews, because they were actually always on to this guy, he said that he didn't remove the license plate number. And when they're like, but why did you move the car? Some people saw you moving the car, and he's like, oh, I moved the car because she asked me to, because she wanted to run away forever. So I just moved the car for her. He made up a lot of crap along the way, basically. But in that initial interview, he said, I didn't remove the license plate. And yet he did. In the latest documents, it says he removed the license plates, and he said he chucked it in a river. He just can't remember which one. Okay? What a guy. That's another picture of her with her car. So, any idea why he would ask her to meet him there that day? Because that's one of the questions I have, of course. Why? What was going on this day? So now we're going back to grain of salt, but yet it is from her mom, okay? This is Sheena's post from Facebook, a comment that she made. And so let's read through it. She said, he lured her in with all his money. He was supposedly her boss or friend. He is a married 58-year-old husband. He's 59 now, so only just turned 59, which is why all the reports showed different ages, because I was trying to figure out, some say 58, some say 59. When he was booked into the jail now, he was 59, so he recently had his birthday. That's what happened there. Anyway, so he's a married 58-year-old husband, dad, grandfather, and this is before they found human remains on his property now, okay? This is along the way. I went through some of the, older Facebook posts. So they say, he claims he helped my daughter with the ride. Him and his wife do nothing but lie. He's been busted in so many lies. We have an eyewitness that puts Valerie on the job site with Pat, so the Patrick, that day. They witnessed him being creepy, leaving with Valerie in his vehicle. So she didn't lie about working. Then my family all said how happy she was, what a great mood she was in. Well, if you know Valerie, those moods had to be because she's getting something she really wants. And then I think about how they found her car, backed in with 0 plate. Why? Well, her in such a great mood, been talking about Pat, said that he had a friend with a red Mustang convertible for sale that Pat was going to buy for Valerie. By the way, that pissed me off when I heard about it. I was already pissed about the whole relationship and him offering to buy any vehicle, what along a red Mustang convertible. But anyways, them finding Valerie's car, I bought her, backed into a spot at husband job with no plate, made me think he had to have told her that he was going to take her to get the car that day. But he used the car like a perv in a van, luring a kid in with candy, shaking my head. I just can't get over all the lies and secrets. Let it out. Just tell us what you know. They're going to find out, and soon. Okay. So, Web Weaver, you said we don't have front plates in Indiana. Good to know. Then he removed the back plate because it's on the PCA that he removed the plate. So my arrow, in that case, then would not be pointing to the right thing. But I can't point to the back. We can't see it. But he did remove the plates because, you know, he's being so sneaky. This guy. I mean, my word. So this could be a reason that he got her there. Saying, come and meet me there. And then we'll go from there. We'll drive together. I'll take you someplace nice. We'll go for lunch. And then we're going to go buy you this car. Oh, my goodness. So, yeah, that's a red flag. So then, here's a picture of her with her parents. One of the neighbors, one of the people that lived at the apartments, the job site that he asked her to meet him at, said, he does lawn care where my daughter lives, and I go help her with the kids in the morning to get them ready for school. And he would be there a little after 5 in the morning with his lawnmowers and just sit there in front of my daughter's apartment. And Valerie's mom said, I've been wanting to thank you. Your information and your daughter's led to his arrest. So thank you. See something, say something. Okay? So then she said, you're so welcome. Keep me informed of everything, hun. And so they said, by the way, my husband pointed out that he was sitting there waiting to move our daughter's car. I remember telling my husband he just left for work. Who mows the grass this early? We do believe that was when he would show up there and move her car. He was waiting for you to leave. People were keeping their eyes out. He must have been really, quite creepy looking then, if they all notice him. Like, what is this guy doing? I mean, it is a very small town, right? Okay, so more than 50 search warrants have been carried out since Valerie went missing. That's a lot of search warrants. They really searched and his property multiple times and things like that. In the surrounding area. And obviously anyone that she had texted that day, that she'd Snapchatted with, they looked everywhere. So yes, remember, if you see something, say something, because in this case, Valerie's mom is saying that this person really helped. Okay, let's have a look at this post here. This one I found really interesting as well. Again, it's from her mother that she wrote on Facebook. She said, when this first happened, a person pretending to be Valerie reached out. That sounds to me like the perp. I don't know about you. Let me know what you think after I read this. They had only messaged me and one other person. The police, of course, investigated, but I do believe it was her. And I believe if she is pregnant, it is one of two people. I believe that my neighbors are just helping hide her. So her family thought, oh man, she probably did get pregnant and now she's hiding from them and she'll be back or something like that, you know? So they said, I believe my neighbors are just helping hide her, which is also why the police were saying they believe that someone is helping hide her. Their way of handling things is ate up. There were so many things they should have told us. Anyway, the person who reached out was desperate to talk to one of Valerie's exes. Now, as far as I knew, they hadn't spoken in a while, but mind you, my memory problems are severe. So I have a feeling that she has told me not long before she disappeared that her and him had contact again. I remember not really giving two thoughts because he was in another town. So she never stays with anyone very long, and he just wasn't right for her anyways. I just didn't think much of it. Now, I could be wrong about everything, but either her and this boy hooked up and she ended up telling him that she was pregnant, and he had just learned his girlfriend was too, or her and Pat were more than friends. Now I mention his girlfriend, so you know, this kid contacted me. Valerie's ex messaged me and asked me if she was okay, then told me he didn't know anything and tell her to leave me alone. This person, claiming to be my daughter, was so insistent on talking with him. She said, bro, I don't care if you got a wife, I need to talk to him. Well, first, my daughter had a bad habit of saying bro, and she knew it made me mad. Second, why are they insisting on talking to an ex who has a girlfriend and you hadn't seen him in forever? I had the girlfriend reach out to me. She explained how sorry she was for what we are going through, but Valerie had been blocked on everything and they didn't want to be involved. Well, that killed me. There was one chance to see if it was her and to try to see what happened. I asked his girlfriend, why would she want to talk to him so bad? Don't you think it's odd? She said, yes, she did, but it's not their problem. So I was like, do you think he might have cheated and got her pregnant? Of course, like all young, dumb girls, he would never do that. Okay, I can see this is a losing battle. Then she says, he's with me all the time. He's about to move in with me. I'm just in disbelief of my ears, feeling sorry for her, and I respond, you mean he doesn't ever go anywhere without you? He doesn't go to work, or you can't possibly be with him all the time. Anyways, that ended. Police said they didn't come up with anything. Which is why, again, if her parents were speculating she could have been pregnant, either, in my opinion, the suspected killer was jealous of who got her pregnant, or he got her pregnant and didn't want anyone finding out. Okay. That is true. Angela says if it is in fact her and she was pregnant, they'll be able to know the dad. Ooh, very, very hectic case, right? If you're feeling lost at all, I hope not, because I hope that it's making sense. I try to do everything chronologically and just give you all the details and everything I could find. Don't worry, we're still going to watch the press conference. We're going to watch what her parents said to the media. We're going to read through documents, which is also an entire chronological timeline. So everything will make sense. If you watch like all of this, you'll get the entire story, right? October 11th of 2023, the Rush County Sheriff's Department actually drained a pond in a field behind Patrick Scott's house. Police told them, the family, that they didn't find Valerie, and the investigation continued. So they said during the search, a K9 indication was made on the pond located on the property, at which time the Indiana State Police dive team conducted a search of the pond. Nothing was discovered related to this investigation, but they said that the cadaver dogs actually alerted to that very pond 4 times. 4 times, 4 different spots, 4 times, and they were adamant that this, something's in this water, which they say could be from, like, let's say, if there's remains somewhere and there's rain and it's like there's drain off into this pond, because the pond wasn't on his property, it was behind his property, but they say it could be from that, or they could be detecting a scent from somewhere else. Okay? So, the field includes a pond, and the search was conducted with the consent and cooperation of the property owners. November 29th of 2023, which was yesterday, 175 days later, of her family wondering, where is she, what happened to her, and they heard the absolute worst news. They said human remains were discovered in a barrel under a pile of rubble where Patrick's garage used to be. You know, the one that he tore down and burnt a day after Valerie went missing? That one. A pile of rubble. You can see there's a cadaver dog there and these piles of rocks, of rubble. And this was less than 100 yards from her family home. Her mom said it was absolutely devastating to learn that. Like, they've been looking for her this whole time, and tentatively, they're saying they're still confirming 100% the identity of the remains, but they do believe it is Valerie's based on orange paint on her fingernails and things like that with the remains that they found. Okay? Which is why they had a press conference yesterday to say that this is not how they wanted, the outcome to be. They really hoped that they would find Valerie alive and well, but to think it was like less than 100 yards from her family home. Isn't that quite hectic? Thank you, Snoopy Catty Cat. Snoopy Catty Cat. So you can see this pile over here. These are the only pictures I could really find. There's not too many pictures of this, of course. It might have been neighbors or so quickly snapping something, but you can see the pile of rubble. And there was apparently boxes. We're going to read through the document that I just got right before this live stream. I've been requesting it from the court clerk today, and I got one. It was just released 15 minutes before I went live, and I quickly read through that, and my eyes, as I say, were this big because I'm like, what? There was a box with VHS tapes, and below that box, and there's this barrel, and there's human remains, and all kinds of stuff, tarps, and I'm like, oh my word. Very hectic. So brace yourself, okay? So her mom said I wanted to get her help, and she wouldn't, and I think he took advantage of that. So she was still referring to her previous trauma in Indianapolis when she said that. So I'm not too sure, what happened, but I don't know. I always say that these creepers, they prey on the vulnerable. I mean, we know that, right? It's like if you've been through trauma, I feel like I'm going to speak for myself now. I spot them and they spot me, I could spot a creeper and they can spot, oh, this one's been through trauma, that one's vulnerable. I'm like, I will kick your ass, But I think her mom's instinct is right. He probably took advantage of that. You know, offering to help her, offering to buy her a car. Like, don't worry, I'll give you a summer job. Oh, man. So the Astro from Spaces, he made videos? I don't know. But to find a box with VHS tapes is very scary. Okay? So Arlington, a small town whose dwindling population fell below 300 in 2020. That's such a small town, oh my word. Remains rocked by the case of the missing teenager and the arrest of a man whom her family trusted as a neighbor and a boss, and who came over to their house regularly to console them, to tell them, don't you worry, she's going to be found. Wow, now the small town holds its breath and waits for further answers as Patrick Scott remains locked behind bars. For Rush County Sheriff Alan Rice, the case is far from over. Though an arrest has been made, investigators continue to pore over Scott's property. As, just remember, his name is Patrick Scott. They're referring to him in this article that I've cited here by his surname. They still continue to pore over his property as the sheriff's department turns its attention from an arrest to prosecution. So he's currently at the Rush County Jail. I don't know right now. We'll have to look again what his bond is. I'm hoping he has no bond. But his pre-trial conference session will be on the 2nd of Jan, I believe, 2024. So yeah, Happy New Year to you, sir, and we'll see you there. I don't know if it'll be streamed or televised or whatever. If it is, we'll keep an eye on it, okay? Thank you so much, Amy Lee. You said absolutely love your lives, G. I appreciate all the hard work and dedication from you and our mods. Cases can be horrible, but you maintain sensitivity. Thank you so much. So that is a good overview of the case. I hope that you followed. If you're only joining now, don't worry, you can go back. I'll do timestamps for you. This was our presentation time to introduce you to this case, and hopefully there will be justice for Valerie Tindall, who was 17 years old, just about to turn 18, working a summer job with someone that her and her family trusted completely. The neighbor, a grandpa, a dad, a husband. Unbelievable. And I do wonder, well, 59 years old, what has he done in his life? What is on those VHS tapes? To just wake up at 59 and get obsessed with a neighbor, a teen, and then do this? I'm very, very worried. You just never know what they might find. And I mean, with the cadaver dogs alerting to that pond, it reminds me of that case. Remember Timothy Haslett Jr. with the blue barrels and things like that? I still wonder about that case. I'm still waiting for updates. So, okay. So that is the overview of this very sad case. Now what we're going to do is look at the press conference. Let me boost the sound for us quickly. It does need a boost, believe me. Okay. So let's put this on for you guys. We'll watch the press conference together quickly. If you've seen it already, I'm glad that you are here watching it with us, okay? All right, so we are here now. Let's just quickly make it full screen for you. And let's have a listen.
We appreciate your time and patience. I'm Deputy Chris Morgan with the Rush County Sheriff's Office and the Public Information Officer. This afternoon, we will hear from Sheriff Alan Rice, along with Rush County detectives and other representatives with the U.S. Marshals and FBI. I would like to introduce those now. Sheriff Alan Rice, Chief Deputy Josh Brinson, United States Marshal for the Southern District of Indiana, Dan McClain, Special Agent in Charge with the FBI, Herb Stapleton, Rush County Detectives Randy Meek and Sean Smallwood, Deputy U.S. Marshal Tom Abreu, Rush County Prosecutor Phil Cavanis, and Rush County Coroner Brenda McMahon. There will be an opportunity for questions at the end, so please hold all questions to that time. I'd like to introduce now Sheriff Alan Rice.
Good afternoon. I'm Rush County Sheriff Alan Rice, and I want to thank everyone for being here today to help disseminate information on the case that has been followed by many across our community and state. Yesterday, my department, along with partners from the Rushville Police Department, FBI, U.S. Marshals Service, and others, conducted a significant investigation in the search of missing teen Valerie Tindall, who was reported missing June 8th in Arlington. We have been working tirelessly.
I just want to say welcome to all the locals in chat. I see there are some locals here. Just know we've got your back. I'm so sorry that I didn't cover this case earlier. I would have if I saw this. I didn't know anything about this until yesterday. And that's always so sad. I just see there's some people on social media, on the Facebook group, that are very upset that now people are talking about it. But rather now than never, right? Rather let the world know about Valerie and what happened here, and let there be justice and lots of support for family and friends than not, right? So better late than never. But I do wish that I'd learned about this case much, much earlier.
Tirelessly on this case since its inception, executing more than 50 search warrants and expanding countless man-hours in the effort of locating Valerie. Regretfully, during our search yesterday, we discovered human remains buried on a property in Arlington. This property belonged to Patrick Scott, who was identified earlier in the case as a person of interest. The remains have yet to be positively identified by the coroner, who will establish a cause and manner of death. Following the discovery of the body, Patrick Scott was arrested for murder and booked into the Rush County Jail. This is not the outcome we had all hoped for, but I want to stress to the public that this case is far from over. There is still much work to be done, and our focus will now shift to successful prosecution of anyone who may be involved. I would like to send my heartfelt condolences to Valerie's friends and family, and our community and the officers involved who have been affected by this case. Justice will be sought for Valerie. I've been asked many times throughout the course of this investigation, why is it taking so long? The amount of time required to bring this case closer to closure is not a reflection of the effort of my officers and others have put forth. This case has been a daily effort for investigators since June. It has been a profound impact on them, and I want to thank them for their tremendous diligence and professionalism. So thank you. At this time, I'd like to turn the podium over to Herb Stapleton, Special Agent in Charge, Indianapolis, FBI.
Thank you, Sheriff. Good afternoon, everyone. I just want to begin by echoing the Sheriff's sympathies and extending the FBI's sympathy to the family and friends of Valerie Tindall. I know that you are all suffering unimaginable grief and pain, and I'm deeply sorry for your loss. In August of 2023, the Rush County Sheriff's Office requested FBI assistance with an investigation into Valerie's disappearance. Over the course of the next few months, FBI Indianapolis aided the investigation with a full suite of investigative and support services, including specialty teams and subject matter experts, both from our Indianapolis field office as well as national assets based out of the National Capital Region. A case agent from the FBI's Muncie resident agency integrated into a joint investigative effort with the Rush County Sheriff's Office and the United States Marshals Service. And all told, the FBI's effort in this case involved dozens of agents, analysts, task force officers, and professional staff employees providing assistance to our partners here in Rush County. FBI assistance in this particular case included analysis of evidence previously collected by Rush County Sheriff's Office investigators, phone record and cell site analysis by the FBI's Cellular Analysis Survey team, collaboration on interview and investigative strategies, and during yesterday's search, a full deployment of our evidence response team with support from the FBI laboratory for the search of the property, along with facilitation of K-9 support and an aerial site survey of the potential search location. All told, there were over 40 personnel on site yesterday for the search. While I know that the results of yesterday's search don't take away the pain that Valerie's loved ones are feeling right now, I'm proud of the work that our team did in concert with our local partners from Rush County and the Rushville Police Department, and with our federal partners at the United States Marshals Service. And I hope that this work will help provide answers for her family and draw us one step closer to seeing justice done in this tragic case. At this time, I'll turn the podium over to United States Marshal Dan McLean.
Okay, so that was the FBI, and now the US Marshals representative will be talking. And this press conference is 14 minutes, and we've watched 6 minutes so far. And then after this, we'll also be watching an 8-minute clip of Valerie's parents reacting to this press conference, which is very sad. I mean, they were absolutely devastated. So we're going to be watching that. And then, please, if you can't stay here right now, come back, because we're going to be going over the documents, which I don't know if they're out there yet. I just requested them today, and they weren't out this morning. And then they finally, this case went on my case, and then the documents were available. And it is very detailed and very shocking what the suspect has told the police that he did. Okay, so brace yourself, but we're going to go over those documents and the chronological timeline as provided on the police report. So the probable cause affidavit and charges and things like that. All right, so let's continue here.
Good afternoon. One of the U.S. Marshals' primary responsibilities is finding federal fugitives, and we're very good at it. Over the years, we've been utilizing our experience in fugitive investigations and applying it to missing children. We've had considerable success doing this, and we offer assistance to many agencies with missing children cases. For this case, we were able to develop and follow leads pertinent to Valerie's movements the day of her disappearance, as well as the activity of the suspect. I want to thank my investigators who have been involved in the case since July. It's been a great example of the partnership the United States Marshals share with our state, local, and federal partners. Thank you.
All right, at this time, I would like to open the floor for just a few questions on the events that happened yesterday in Arlington.
Sheriff, what brought the investigators back to that location specifically on Tuesday?
So over the course of time, with all the material, all the evidence that we have gathered over the process since June, led us to the suspect and the properties that he owned.
Do you guys recognize that voice? I believe it's Dennis Quaid, who reports for Fox 59, and we've seen him often outside of the courtroom, or outside of the courthouse in Delphi, Indiana. And he always gives us the scoop of what happens in those courtrooms. So I think that was him asking that question there.
And was there a recent piece of information that accelerated the response to go out there? And especially, what did you tell the judge in the search warrant that allowed you to enter that property?
So at this time, I'm not going to go into any details other than it was the information that the investigators had at hand led us to that property.
You still have people out there on the property. You believe there might be additional victims out there? What are you still looking for?
I don't want to go into the details of the investigation, but that has not been closed out. This is still an open investigation.
What type of evidence are you able to tell us that was recovered at the site yesterday?
Human remains.
And what else?
That's all I'm going to comment on.
Do you have an indication that Mr. Scott was alone in this event or in the events that followed after Valerie's disappearance?
So this is still an open investigation, and I'm not going to comment on the details of our investigation.
Can you confirm that Mr. Scott had some kind of tracking device on Valerie's phone? We know that she worked for him and they were neighbors actively. Can you confirm that that was part of this?
I'm not going to comment on that.
So they don't want to comment on him tracking her on that Life 360 app, but that is what her mom has said, and I do believe it's in that document. There's quite a lot of documents that we've got now that I'm going to be going through that are literally brand new with all the charges, with all the details. It's very scary. So they don't want to answer a lot of these questions now, but we will know some of those answers when we go through the documents, okay?
At this time.
Was Mr. Rice present during the search yesterday?
Who?
Sorry. You're Mr. Rock.
I am.
Well, okay.
So I was, yes.
Okay, no, Mr. Scott, was Mr. Scott present during the search yesterday?
For the beginning process of it, he was interviewed, and then they were not on site.
Sheriff, are you concerned that there could be more people, more victims there, alleged victims there in other cases? Are there other missing people that you're potentially?
I don't have any evidence that will lead me to believe that this involves anybody else.
I saw his truck being pulled away yesterday. I'm assuming that's the same truck you did a search warrant on last summer, returned to him, and then took it again yesterday?
So we did do a search on that vehicle before. We did a different style of search yesterday, which we had a search warrant for, and it was taken to the FBI headquarters for final analysis.
Patrick Scott, is he in your jail right now?
Correct.
Has he been placed in some kind of solitary confinement or?
Not going to go into the details. He is here at the jail.
He is at the Rush County Jail, and he was arrested in June for misinformation, and now he's facing 3 other charges. We'll go through that. Debbie says, was it confirmed to be Valerie's remains, late to the party and missed it? Not 100% confirmed. They say the coroner is still, busy with the identification and autopsy. They also don't know right now the cause of death, but so the media is saying that police sources told them that they do believe it is Valerie's remains, and the probable cause affidavit details what Patrick Scott says he did to Valerie, how he buried her, where he buried her, and the remains they found had orange nail polish, and they confirmed she had orange nail polish on the last day she was seen. So it's 99% sure that it is her. Thank you for asking, though. I'm sure that question is on everyone's mind.
Thank you.
What can you tell us about any statements he gave to you either before or after his arrest?
I did not speak with him.
Did any of your investigators speak with him, and what did they tell you he said to them?
You want to speak on that, Phil? Oh, no comment on that.
Well, okay, so he was interviewed out at the site as...
Okay, just stand by. So, yes, correction. Russ McQuaid. Did I say Dennis Quaid? McQuaid. Russ McQuaid. He's awesome. He really does good coverage as well. Gives us all the scoop of that Delphi courthouse, and now we can hear him asking questions at this press conference. Of course, this is in Indiana. This is Rush County, Indiana, and this happened in Arlington, Indiana. Small town. Thank you so much, Rob, and thank you to everyone who gave stickers earlier. I will put it on the screen and acknowledge them, and I really, really appreciate it, and I'll always read the messages afterwards, okay?
The day began yesterday, and then he was no longer at the site, and then later, at what point was he put under arrest yesterday?
After the remains were found.
Okay, so this would be late afternoon?
Yes.
Okay, so was he no longer at the site?
No.
So he was gone from the site by that point?
Correct.
Was he in your custody gone from the site, or did he, drive over to a friend or relative's house?
So at the time of the search, we had no availability or reason to hold him. So he was free to roam as a normal person would. At the time that we had a reason to get him for an arrest, we went out and arrested him.
Okay, and then you didn't have any trouble, once late afternoon came up, you found the remains, you didn't have any trouble then discovering where he was, taking him into custody?
No.
Was there any weapons with him?
No.
Did you find any weapons in his house or in his truck?
There would be no comment on that.
Sheriff, did you?
So, spoiler alert, his weapon was a belt.
You searched a lake on his property was searched early in the summer, right?
There's not a lake on his property.
Or a pond, rather, excuse me.
There's not a pond either. It was on a separate property.
And so if the remains have not been yet definitively, positively identified, what makes you believe that this is Ms. Tindall?
Pardon? Can you finish? I couldn't hear you at the end.
I'm wondering, I know that you said that we're waiting on positive identification from the coroner of the human remains, and yet we are still here talking about and giving sympathies to Ms. Tindall's family. What makes you believe that this is in fact her?
I can't really comment on that. We'll wait for until it actually has been verified. As you recall, I said, human remains. I didn't say that it was Valerie, but
But yet you're offering sympathy to her family. so
absolutely.
I don't want to make go leap in my head, but I guess no one wants to
Yeah.
assume in the wrong
No,
thing.
no law enforcement agency could say until they have the coroner's confirmation.
Hey, you're not connecting the dots, but you're kind of putting the dots out there.
Mhm. Yeah, I can't connect the dots for you until the coroner gives her report.
What was the significance of the misdemeanor charges he faces? What your detectives learned from him or about his story? What was the significance of that as it folds into this bigger investigation to which he's now charged with murder?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
Okay. Last summer, your detectives talked to him, and the impression I got is his story and his details kept changing. What role did those interviews and that misdemeanor charge then play into the bigger picture, which eventually led you back there to eventually charge him with murder?
But placed him obviously as a person of interest.
And how did it do that?
I'm not going to go into any more details other than that.
This concludes our presentation. I appreciate you guys coming, your time and your patience. There will be a press release immediately issued. I have hard copies, and I'll be also able to email that to you. Thank you for your time.
Okay, so let's have a look at that quickly. We'll go like this. It should be here is that press release that they talked about. So let me just make this bigger for you. Hold on 1 second, please. I'm going to show it to you so that you know you're not missing out on any detail here. You're going to get all the details, and we're going to look at brand new documents and breaking news in this case, even though I still can't see that the coroner has definitively said this is absolutely Valerie Tindall. The document that I have, the probable cause affidavit, that really makes it 99.9% sure that it's Valerie. So they say Office of Rush County Sheriff, Alan C. Rice, Arlington, Indiana. Rush County Sheriff's Office, assisted by Rushville Police Department, United States Marshal Service, and Federal Bureau of Investigation, discovered a body while executing search warrants associated with the disappearance of Valerie Tindall yesterday, November 28th of 2023. Tindall was reported missing by family on June 8th of 2023. She was 17 years old at the time. Substantial investigative activity resulted in the discovery of a body buried at 2366 North Oak Street, Arlington, Indiana. This property belonged to Patrick Scott, who was identified early in the investigation as a person of interest. The Rush County coroner was dispatched to the scene to begin the process of positively identifying the remains and determining the cause and manner of death. Following the discovery of the body, Patrick Scott was arrested without incident and booked into the Rush County Jail for murder. This is not the outcome we had hoped for, said Alan Rice, Rush County Sheriff. This case is still under investigation to ensure those responsible are successfully prosecuted. Rush County Sheriff's Office urges the public to come forward with any information that may assist the investigation in light of recent developments. The public may contact the Sheriff's Office at 765-932-2931. I put all the numbers and everything in the description box, as well as a case background. So if you're only joining the stream now, thank you so much for being here. Check out the description box if you want a really quick overview of the case. We did an entire presentation where I gave you lots of details that I've been digging up for you for the last 2 days, well, since I heard about this case in the press conference yesterday, and it's very, very sad, right? Oh my goodness. So I'm going to show you now her parents' reaction to the press conference, and I also want to show you this quickly. Where's this Facebook post? Here. Sorry, mugshot time. This is the guy who was arrested, the neighbor, and who Valerie Tindall was working for the summer. And she generally, it sounds like she worked Mondays and Tuesdays, not Wednesdays, but that day she was, he asked her to meet her at a job site. So we speculated about why and all of that earlier. But her mom said, this is her mom posting, Sheena said she's feeling sad. Here is the sick, F-U-C-K, who took our baby girl from us. And they were sickened to think back of how many times he'd gone over to their house with his wife to, show sympathy, to say, don't you worry, she's going to be found soon, she'll come back, and all that kind of stuff. Right? Oh, man. So this must be So scary, so shocking, so sad. Valerie Tindall was the middle child, 17 years old, about to turn 18, wanted to be a vet. She was doing really well at school lately, her mom said, getting A's and B's, working so hard towards her goals and dreams. And she'd applied for college, she'd already got back acceptance letters, and she was so excited for that chapter of her life. And this man is the suspect for taking her life. So, okay, now I just want to show you, is it this one? So we've looked at that, yes, okay. Also, I didn't show you on the, I'll show you quickly on the map. Let me just show you this on the map, and then we'll look at what her parents have said after that press conference. Okay, so let me, I know you guys all like the map time song, so let's quickly play that. Okay, and we are back. So this happened in Arlington, Indiana, a town of less than 300 people. I put the aquarium here, which, yes, is in Kentucky, not Kansas. Sorry about that. Remember, I'm South African. Living in the Netherlands, sometimes I get it wrong. Okay. Oh my word, Cincinnati. When I hear Cincinnati, you know what I hear. You know it, you guys. If you follow me on X, Cincinnati Zoo, I'm going to go there one day. I'm going to see Fritz the hippo. Moving on. Newport Aquarium, I think it's this one, is where he'd taken her to in the past. We looked at that on the presentation. And so I'm just going to take that out now so we could see just the immediate area in this case. So his house is around here, this North Oak Street, which is where they found human remains in a barrel that was buried on his property. And it's at the location where he had torn down and burned his garage at 2 o'clock in the morning, shortly after Valerie went missing. They say on social media a day after. Neighbors find it so sus that they actually recorded that. So I hope that the FBI and the police have that now as evidence for whenever his trial will be. You guys are always talking about the hippo now. Fritz and Fiona. Yeah, they are the best. One day I'm going to go there. So this is where his house is, and of course, you know, she lived across the road. They were neighbors. And the work site that he asked her, this is Shelbyville, this little area here. He asked her to meet her at a work site. Okay, now I put so many points on here. Hold on one second. I think it's this 2315 sort of area here. Wait, here. I think he asked her to meet her there, and then it looks like he parked the car. He moved her car from there to there. And this, sorry about that. I've got all these, you could just see all the points. It's all in this little area. Well, look at the document where he asked her to meet, and then he moved her car just slightly further. And about 2 days later, when they moved the car, took the license plate off, and all of that. Cameras caught his car. They caught her car as well, driving there that day. And then just his red Ford Taurus leaving with a passenger who they believe was her. She wasn't wearing a seatbelt. That day, they said they could just see there's a young girl not wearing a seatbelt, wearing what she was last seen wearing. And he said, no, he dropped her off in Homer. But then they said, no, her phone pinged very close to the home. Okay, so this is the area we're looking at, all right, in Indiana. I see a lot of you guys are also asking, how far is this from Delphi? Delphi, Indiana? Let's have a look. Oh, it's westward. Okay, wait. Indianapolis is over here, and Delphi is all the way up here, so it's about 112 miles or so. Over 100 miles. Almost 2 hours away. Okay? That's the thing. SJM says this is another terrible story, to never trust anyone, even a seemingly nice neighbor. Right? I mean, they moved from Indianapolis to Arlington, small rural community, particularly for safety. And then this alleged predator was right across the road. Jean says, is the barrel found one of those? I actually don't know. I haven't seen a picture of the barrel, and I haven't heard anyone actually in articles or anything describe the barrel. They just said a barrel, okay? So we've done our map time. Now I want to show you this over here. Wait, I might actually have to boost the sound as well. Let's just do that. There we go. Okay. Shame, her poor parents. So this is her parents' reaction to the press conference. In case you're wondering, what are we watching now? That is what we are watching. This is her mom, Sheena, and her dad, Jack. Okay.
Conference and listen to what they had to say.
I just
Where
want
are
to
you
hear.
at right now? This has got to be unbelievable for your family.
Yeah, the sound needs to be boosted big time.
I'm devastated. My daughter didn't deserve this. And we just want answers right now. We just want answers as to why. Why would you do this? Because her and him had a bond, like they were friends. And she,
So we thought.
yeah.
She worked for him, right? They did.
She worked for him,
she did.
but she also hung out with his family, like his granddaughter was her friend, and we went places with them, me and him, and her and him, and family, like everybody went together.
For a long time. You guys
Yeah.
were family friends.
Yeah.
In the last 5 months, had you talked to him about her at all, or did you see them at all?
No, he ran in his house every time I tried to talk to him.
Well, at first, actually, the first week or so, I think it was the first week, right after we hung flyers. I think it was day 2, we went out and hung flyers, and as soon as we come home, they were there. And they kept coming over, you know, asking me if I was okay and telling us, oh, I'm sure she's fine, she'll be back home. I left at 17, that's what his wife kept telling me. I left at 17, and I said, yeah, but that was different. You left and got married. Your mom knew where you were. You didn't just vanish.
Did you know in your mother's heart this is not her running away, that this is something is my
I
child?
think I hoped, so I hung on to that. I wanted to believe that she did, but I didn't.
Shame. Also, please do not blame the parents. I mean, we're all welcome to our opinions, but obviously here at Grizzly 2 Crime, we protect victims and their family. Grooming is a very real and very scary thing that really does happen in plain sight. If you don't know the red flags, I mean, you could say, well, he's 59 and she's 17, but she worked for him. You know, it was a neighbor that the whole family trusted. He was a husband, a grandfather, a father. You know, they saw them often. He came over a lot. So did his wife. You know, him and his wife came over a lot. They went over. They spent a lot of time together. Like family, friends. And then offered her the summer job and she was working towards her goals and everything. So just keep that in mind. I know people judge very quickly, of course, especially on the internet. But grooming is so scary. And to think, I think she'd only worked for him for about 2 weeks or so. I mean, just to think of all the things that he speculatively planned and premeditated and asked her to meet there and all this stuff and saying that her mom speculated that maybe he was saying, I'll buy you a car, like come and meet me there, let's go look at it, something like that. She was just excited, 17 years old, doing her thing, going to work.
I was reading on Facebook some commentary that you folks had made about you were concerned at one point, though, that he had a tracker on her phone. Was that part of
She
work?
come home and told me that. She said something about he had placed her on his 360 plan. I didn't even know what that was. And she explained it to me and I was like, why? I'm like, why are you on that? She said, I don't know, he just added me on it with his family because they're all on it. And I said, well, but you're not his kids or his wife or anything. He has no reason to even be tracking them as far as I'm concerned. I wouldn't track my family. It's not normal to me.
And did he used to call and say, hey, she's here, Dad, or she's...
Yeah, she's like to go visit boys. She didn't know on the internet.
She just
And I tried to get her to stop doing that because it's dangerous. And it didn't work. Come to find out it was the boss, not the boys.
You know, her dad was, he's saying, this is her dad. He was trying to warn her, but you can't just like meet up with people that you meet on Snapchat or Instagram. I mean, obviously it's a very small town. There's 300 people there or so, just less than, right? Less than in 2020, just less than 300. So let's say 300 people living there. Lots of teens and they're going to be meeting up, you know, to have fun. And so he said, just be careful now. Be careful of those boys that you're meeting up with. And now he says, how devastating to think it was actually the boss. It was the guy she was working for, the neighbor they trusted, the guy with the lawn care company that said, don't worry, you can come work for me, earn some extra money. I got you. You know, I know your family. And as Anna says here, outside of this case, people have to consider that grooming involves the parents of these victims too. They have to make everybody trust them and think they're normal. Absolutely. And I mean, he even groomed, speculatively, of course, allegedly he groomed after her death because he went over there a lot. Still, he went over there, drinking coffee with them and saying, don't worry, it's going to be okay. I'm sure she's fine. She'll come back. She's 17. Him and his wife, the suspect and his wife were saying, don't worry, I also ran away when I was young, so it's okay. She might come back. That's scary.
Did he ever help search for her?
No.
No.
No, all they did was come to our yard and talk to us for hours together, talking to us.
His wife did admit that she drove around Shelbyville
Yeah, she drove around looking.
and looking for her. But
And she offered to print out, flyer,
the next day we found out
maps.
that they had something to do with it.
And is it true that you, at one time, after Valerie disappeared, you saw him taking down his shed in the middle of the night? And
I did not. My son-in-law and my daughter witnessed him doing that at 2 a.m.
And the neighbors.
I had some.
See? Her daughter and son-in-law and the neighbors witnessed him tearing down his garage and burning it at 2 a.m. Oh my word. Also, for everyone asking about the tracking that they just referenced, maybe you missed the presentation in the beginning. The guy that they arrested, the neighbor, right? He added Valerie, the 17-year-old that went missing June 7th of 2023. He added her to his family Life 360 app, and he was obsessively tracking her. And when she was out at night or something, he would call her dad, the one you see standing here, and say, hey, do you know that she's there? And hey, do you know that she's here? And what is she doing out there? And why is she over there? Very possessive and controlling for this neighbor, you know what I mean? So that's why people are commenting on the tracking. It's not about necessarily the family tracking each other for safety. This neighbor was tracking her. That's weird, right? Okay.
Somebody else verified it was 2 a.m. and I said, how do you know that? And she said, I video recorded it.
Mm-hmm. And is it also true that somebody, a family friend, heard him say to her, hey, we're going to meet for lunch or we're going to go for lunch on that day?
That was a girl who lived at the apartments that he worked at. They were there working that Wednesday, which he didn't work on Wednesdays. When I come home from work, I said, she doesn't work Wednesdays, and he said, yeah, I know. So we just kind of assumed she told a little white lie and went to see a friend or a boy or something like that, like teenage kids do. Well, later I called him because she was supposedly at work, and he says, no, she didn't work. Well, later we find out from multiple people that, that's not the case. His story kept changing, that he went from not seeing her from the day before to he had seen her that day to she had actually worked. And I found that out from the girl that worked at the apartment. Her mother actually reached out to me. She's 20 years old, and she had 2 kids, and she told her mom, apparently confided in her mom, because I'm sure she didn't know what to do as a 20-year-old kid. So after her mom had given me the information, I went and immediately emailed Smallwood, which was the lead detective, and let him know. Of course, it's the holidays, so he wasn't in.
To know that she was found practically in your own backyard, I mean,
It's devastating.
Do you know how hard
Mind-blowing.
that was for me?
Yeah, mind-blowing.
I wanted to go over there so bad.
So much. Every day.
How are you still standing up?
I do not know.
It ain't easy. I've been up all night crying, went to the hospital crying.
Is she your oldest? Or
No, she's my middle child.
how would you describe her?
So sweet, smart,
Funny,
honey.
very intelligent.
I saw something you said she was getting her grades up. She was.
She was. She
Great
went from
comment.
failing to getting A's and B's. I was so proud of her, but I never got to tell her
She
that.
even got a couple acceptance letters from college.
She was applying to college. Do you know what she wanted to do? What she
Pet parent.
wanted to be a vet?
Yeah, she loved animals.
And her schoolwork in her folder proved that. She had all kinds of paperwork filled out from schooling where she was studying animals.
Her mom posted on Facebook the irony that very night she was thinking to herself that day, I really need to tell Valerie how proud I am of her. She's really done so well lately. And she said on a Facebook post she wasn't in the greatest spot in her life, with her mental health and just in general, but she was doing so great lately, so she wanted to encourage her that night. She never ever got to say those words to her daughter. That is so heartbreaking. Oh my goodness.
Was it hard to hear? I mean, the authorities are standing up here and they're offering their sympathies, and yet they're
they can't say, and I mean,
I understand on their behalf, I really do. They have guidelines just like we do when we go to work. You know, if I go to work and I don't put on my safety glasses, I get written up, stuff like that. They have the same things to follow, so I try to be understanding of that. Yes, as a mother, I would have wanted answers within the first week, but logically, it's not possible.
But you, I mean, you know in your parents' heart that this is Valerie. Do you believe it?
I can't see it being anybody else. It just,
If she
like I said, she
disappeared,
would have reached out.
There's no media.
Nothing.
The car was parked at his work, and she's not a very quiet person. She loves the dog, she loves social media. She loved that
TikTok.
car.
She loved TikTok. She loved to do those with her sisters all the time. The fact that she hadn't reached out to her best friend or her sisters or anybody, that just told me that something was definitely wrong. That's not, she didn't run away. I didn't believe that for 1 minute really in my heart, but I wanted to, so.
I mean, it's been 6 months probably of not sleeping for you guys, heart probably not eating
It got
well.
worse the farther it went into it, especially after her 18th birthday.
Can't even keep a
Right off
track
the
of
bat,
thought.
she missed her sister's graduation. And she knew that was going to happen. I thought, well, I can't see Valerie doing that. And then her 18th birthday rolled around. We thought for sure she'd be home when she turns 18. No, and it just took everything down. Unless her
Shame. Her birthday, she was born on the 29th of August 2005. So she would have turned 18 on August 29th. She was last seen on June 7th of 2023. CC says, what kind of company did he have? The suspect had a lawn care company.
Birthday?
August 29th.
And she was going to be a senior this year.
Yep.
She was
Her last year of school.
at where, Rushville? Or
Then I got even more upset because there was no reason to hide.
No.
You know,
We kept saying, like, if she's out there and she ran away, why don't she come home or at least, like, call her sister?
It wasn't
Have
that she
something.
wouldn't do something. I mean,
No.
that wouldn't be like her.
No.
Yeah. And so now the move turns towards, I guess, justice. I mean, right, there's
Absolutely.
people talk about closure and tragedy, but
There is
really-
none.
Yeah.
There's going to be a hole there forever. There was a hole there when we thought she was out there somewhere. There was a hole and it's never going to be filled. Just like half your family's gone.
Anything else that you guys want to say? Dad?
I don't know how somebody could do anything like this. The man's a monster, and his wife needs to be prosecuted with her.
Absolutely.
She knew everything about it too, I'm sure.
So Valerie's parents are saying that the suspect's wife should be prosecuted along with him, that they speculate she knew everything. I don't know. You know that I'm always very cautious with that, as you can see with the like the Lisk case as well, Long Island serial killer, very, very cautious, you know, but putting the spotlight on the wife. So here as well, be cautious, you just never know. But if, you know, neighbors and family are looking at him tearing down his garage and burning it at 2 a.m, the day after Valerie goes missing, and even that, you know, I don't know. We don't know the circumstances, or if anyone else will be charged. I don't know. But I'm just saying what the parents said here, right?
His son, we was told to go clean his car when he turned himself in the first time. So I honestly believe his whole family knew.
When he was charged.
Yeah, that's so scary. But they could have just said, go and clean the car. Like, just clean it just in case or something. I don't know. I don't know if they're implying that his wife said, listen, son, you got to go clean that car now from top to bottom. Who knows? Who knows if other people will be charged? We see this in cases where oftentimes there can be other people charged. I mean, look at the Adelson, you know, Dan Markel's case. Whoa.
With false informing or not giving the right story, did you guys say to yourself, and then especially like, wait, why is he not saying, why is his story
Then the
changing?
bells started going off, yeah.
Even before then, there
Definitely.
was just a lot of things just started popping up. Like she would, like I said, multiple times tell me, I was 17 when I left. I was like, why does she keep saying that? Then she had to point out the fact that Pat was coming home. As Valerie was leaving, they must have crossed paths. I'm like, why tell me that? Like, there's a lot of things just didn't add up to me.
Just, you can tell she's hiding for him.
Mm-hmm.
So will you guys be in court every time that he's there, that kind of thing?
We can, yeah.
Yeah.
We're so sorry.
Thank you.
We're so sorry.
And that's the end of that media statement from Valerie's family. Thank you all for being here as we discover more about this case. It's devastating. Pistol Amy said, absolutely heartbreaking. Sending love and grizzly bear hugs to Valerie's family and friends. Rest in peace, sweet girl. Just so shocked. She was 17, just about to turn 18. So before we go to the documents now, which brace yourself because oh my word. Just a quick recap for those of you joining now. Valerie Tindall was 17 years old, last seen June 7th of 2023 around noon. She drove off in her green Honda Accord, smiling at her dad, waving, saying, okay. And her dad said she was in a really good mood. She texted her boss, who was the neighbor, who had a lawn care company, saying, I'll be there soon. And that's the last anyone heard from her. Well, actually, she along the way had Snapchatted with friends, and she'd been on social media. But then, like, shortly after noon, no more contact from her. She was never seen again. And 175 days later, yesterday, they said that they found human remains on that very neighbor and boss's property in a barrel, and they believe it is Valerie Tindall's. The coroner still has to positively identify her and make sure. But based on what the police are saying, and they're giving sympathies to the family, and the family is, of course, reporting to the media, and the probable cause affidavit we're going to look at, it's 99% sure that it is Valerie. I'm still saying if there's a 1% room that it isn't, that is very scary as well. Who knows what they could discover on that man's property, especially now that they're going to be thoroughly searching that property. 59, he's 59, he was 58 at the time. He just turned 59. What has he done all his life? Okay. So I see some people are asking if it's a shed or a garage. I've actually seen two conflicting, in articles, sometimes they say shed and sometimes they say garage. So I'm actually not too sure if it's a shed or a garage. I would imagine a shed that he could tear it down and burn it, but that's what they say. Yeah, and so Liz says the garage was demolished and that's where he buried her. Yep. Under all that rubble, where the garage or shed used to stand, is where this barrel was found. Okay, so now let me fetch the documents and things for you. I just want to see. Okay, let's do that and get them going. So let's do this one. It's document time. And again, this court clerk was amazing. Oh my goodness, like so friendly, so efficient. Earlier today, there were no documents available and they came pouring in later. So I'm grateful I can bring these to you because, we love documents and facts on paper. So this was actually the charging information earlier in the year. This is from the end of June when they found Valerie's car. Then they realized this guy has been lying all along. He's already been a person of interest in her disappearance. And so they charged him with false informing. Okay, they said on June 10th, 2023 in Rush County, state of Indiana, Patrick Scott did give false information to a law enforcement officer relating to the commission of a crime, to wit, give a statement to RCSD, the Rush County Sheriff's Department, Deputy Joshua Brinson, that he had not seen, they call her JV1, which is Valerie. I don't know if she has, a different first name, but they call her JV1 in the documents. And so that he had not seen her, who had been reported missing, knowing said information to be false, said act resulting in a substantial hindrance to law enforcement process, contrary to the form of the statutes in such cases made and provided by the Indiana Codes 35-44-123D1 and against the peace and dignity of the state of Indiana. So he was charged with that, and he actually got a $10,000 bond, and he had to pay 10% cash, and he actually did pay that and was out again. So he hasn't been in jail the entire time since then. He was arrested, charged with giving false information, and then he got out again. Okay. Oh, JV1, Juvenile 1. Okay, that makes sense. Juvenile 1. Thank you so much, everyone. All the smart grizzlies in chat love it. Juvenile 1. Okay. So Regina said, Kim said, Fox 59 said it's confirmed. Yeah. I have seen the article say that a police source close to them said that they believed it was Valerie Tindall's remains. And from the document that I just got 15 minutes before I started this live stream, it does seem very, very likely that it's Valerie Tindall's remains. But of course, we've got to be cautious just in case it isn't. But it does seem so, right? Okay. Juvenile 1 is, thank you everyone for letting me know. So that was the charges from June. And actually there was this incident report in June. It's 11 pages. So the thing is, with a new document that just came out, I'm actually going to read that because it adds more details, okay? Yes, so Tracy says G has all the documents on Patreon. So these documents I haven't uploaded yet. I just got them, especially the latest one, right before the live stream. But yes, generally, if anyone's interested in getting these documents, I do generally put them on Patreon, and I sometimes post them on X as well, if you can just click on the link, right? Okay, so this was the initial this is what led to the false information charge when they, asked him lots of questions and he lied a lot. But I didn't see her that day. Okay, I saw a little bit. Okay, yeah, sure, I saw her. So we're going to go to the latest documents, which I just want to show you this one quickly. This is now from today, okay? Filed 11/30/2023, State of Indiana, County of Rush, State of Indiana versus Patrick Scott. Date of birth 11/25/1964, which is why they say he was 58 years old at the time and he's just turned 59 5 days ago. All right, so count 1, murder, a felony, information 4, count 2, obstruction of justice, and count 3, false informing, a misdemeanor. That is what he's been charged with. He's got these 3 charges, I would say, so far. We'll see if he gets charged with something else. So just one more time, they've got count 1 is murder, and it's 3542-1-1 bracket 1, which is different to what we've seen with, for example, Richard Allen in the Delphi case. That one had a bracket 2, which was like open murder, kidnapping, commission of a crime. This is murder, okay? Count 1, murder, and count 2, obstruction of justice. Count 3, false informing. Count 1, they say on or about June 7th of 2023. Wait, let me just make this bigger for you, sorry. In Rush County, State of Indiana, Patrick Scott did knowingly or intentionally kill another human being, to wit, Valerie Tindall, contrary to the form of the statutes in such cases made and provided by the Indiana Codes 3542-1-1 bracket 1 and against the peace and dignity of the state of Indiana. So this is pretty solid confirmation that they believe it's her remains, right? But I'm always careful. Count 2. The undersigned, being duly sworn upon his oath, says that between June 7th, 2023 and November 28th of 2023 in Rush County, State of Indiana, Patrick Scott did alter, damage, or remove record, document, or thing with the intent to prevent said item from being produced or used as evidence in a criminal investigation, contrary to the form of the statutes in this case, right? Thank you so much. Count 3, the undersigned, being duly sworn upon his oath, said that on or about June 10th, in Rush County, the state of Indiana, Patrick Scott did give false information to a law enforcement officer relating to the commission of a crime, to wit, gave a statement to the RCSD Deputy Joshua Brinson that he had not seen Valerie Tindall, who had been reported missing, knowing said information to be false. I mean, his initial story was literally, I didn't see her that day. She doesn't work on Wednesdays, didn't see her. They're like, dude, we saw your car on there. She literally texted you, I'll be there soon. And then he's like, okay, I saw a little bit. And then later it's like, okay, fine, I saw her, but then I dropped it off and all of that. We're going to go over that as well. This country goes life years happy, Grizzlyversary. Thank you so much. I like to focus on one case at a time. Otherwise I get super distracted. But thank you so much. I'll check my emails later. All right. So he's got these 3 counts. Now we're going to go into the details that we just got. This is just in from this afternoon. Suspect arrested, Patrick A. Scott, murder, date of birth 11/25/64. Now again, I'm going to say that this content is for adults only. A lot of these details are very distressing. If her family is in the chat, we've got your back. I feel for you. I don't know if they've read through this or what, but I wouldn't advise it. It's very, very disturbing, very sad, okay? So, let's have a look. Criminal homicide report. That's what that's called. Criminal homicide report. They say page 3 of 10, so I don't know where page 1 and 2 are, but this is what we got, okay? Little Miss Kate says, I hope they release the interrogation. Me too. Me too. Yes, Rob, Trigger Bunny, definitely. Criminal homicide report. Description of the offense. Let's just make it nice and big so that we can all see it very well. We don't need all this space on the side. How about that? Okay. So we're reading from here. This is an 8-page document. Description of the offense. On the date of June 7th, 2023, Valerie Tindall, date of birth 8/29/2005, advised her parents that she was leaving her residence located at 2368 North 700 West Arlington to go to work. Tindall reportedly worked for her neighbor, who was identified as Patrick A. Scott, who was found to own a lawn mowing business, and he was additionally found to live behind her residence at that address. Tindall left her residence and traveled to Shelbyville, operating her Honda Accord. We saw pictures of that earlier. During the trip, Tindall traveled to South High Apartments located across from Shelbyville High School, where she met Patrick Scott. Patrick Scott proceeded to drive Tindall back to his residence. So there they just say that, right? He proceeded to drive her back in his vehicle to his residence, leaving her car there, by the way, which was located 2394 North Oak Street in Arlington, Indiana, on the above date, and arrived there at approximately 12:59 p.m. Valerie Tindall was never seen from or heard from after this date, and her last known social media activity was discovered to be at 12:53 p.m. and was at the location of the 1300 block North 725 West, which I think was near where she had met up with him. During the early stages of this investigation, Patrick Scott was spoken to in regards to assisting in possibly knowing where Tindall was located. As this investigation progressed, it was learned that Scott was not being fully truthful. Scott initially advised law enforcement and Tindall's family that he had not seen Tindall, nor had she worked for him on the above date. When later confronted with evidence to prove otherwise, Scott changed his story and advised that he had driven Tindall to meet at an unknown boy who she was dropped off with in Homer, Indiana. Scott, on another date, advised law enforcement that he brought Tindall all the way back to his residence, and then he returned back to work. Scott claimed on this day, when he returned, Tindall was gone. I just got to eye roll that for a second, just like, ugh. So first, he's like, I didn't see it at all. And he's like, okay, I met her there, but then I drove her to Homer, Indiana to drop her off at a boy. And he even made up the car that the boy had, a little blue car, can't remember the make and model. All right. So then, after that, he says, okay, fine. I drove her to my residence, but then I went back to work, and when I got back, she was not there. Wow. All right. So then he said Scott claimed on this date when he returned, she was gone. Scott continually made reference to believing Tindall had ran away and made reference to her father's abusive behaviors to her. Oh my word. Think about what he's being charged with. Of course, he's innocent or proven guilty in a court of law. That's up to the jury to decide. This is the probable cause that they have. Oh man, but to think, if he did this, that he's actually projecting that on her dad, saying, well, her dad was very abusive. Horrible, right? Horrible. Currently, it's grizzlytruecrime@gmail.com if you have something to send me there. So, wow. Multiple search warrants were executed on electronic devices in this investigation, and it was learned that based on those, Scott returned to his residence at approximately 12:59 p.m. on June 7, 2023, with Valerie Tindall. Scott made numerous unusual moves that date, involving not searching the internet like he normally does, and appears to deactivate a lot of the apps on his phone. Oh man. On this date, however, it appears in the background of Scott's phone, the Apple Health app was operating. This app began recording significant health activities at approximately 1:35 p.m. These activities were significant enough to activate this in the background of the phone. His heart rate was going up, right? Okay. Yep. Yeah, Tiff Knox says story keeps changing. Blaming the family. Horrible. Sorry, I just pause every now and then just so that we can all just, process what we're reading here, and we're going to need to chunk it like that. I don't know. It helps sometimes, right? So, significant activities, 1:35 p.m., which is only half an hour after getting to his place. We additionally discovered in this investigation that Scott had returned to where Tindall's vehicle was originally parked, and he moved it to another location in what appears to be an attempt to hide it. The vehicle was backed into a parking lot with other broken down vehicles, and the license plates and keys were removed from the vehicle, which is why I thought there was the front and back one, because they say plates, but maybe just the back one then, because you guys say that you don't have front ones in Indiana. I mean, as if that's not suspicious either. Not only does he change his story the whole time, then he blames her father for being abusive. Then he's consoling the family, don't worry, she's going to come back. Then he's telling the police, well, she wanted to run away. She wanted to run away. And then he also moves her car. Wow. Okay, so, and the plates were also removed. It was later learned that the night that Valerie Tindall disappeared, Patrick Scott and his wife went to Tindall's residence in an attempt to support the Tindall family. If he is convicted of what he's accused of, if he did this to think that he could, so I'm saying if he did, right? Innocent to proven guilty. If he did this, if he could murder a 17-year-old and that very night go over to her parents' house to console them, ooh, that's like next level sick, right? Next level. Horrible. Okay. Yeah, so thank you so much, Karen. I see your article you sent me. That's what we're going to read here as well. So that's where they're getting this from. So, okay. Whoa, actually went over there with his wife. Then he's got no remorse, no shame, no nothing. Huh? He can actually go there. That's the point where people say even the parents are groomed. He's still continuing with that behavior. The mask is on. Oh, goodness. Okay, so this was in the evening hours of June 7th of 2023. On the date of October 11th, 2023, cadaver dogs were placed on a property located directly to the east of Scott's residence. This was completed under the property owner consent and was completed due to a pond located on the property with close proximity to the last known location of Tindall. On this date, 4 separate cadaver dogs gave a positive identification to the presence of human decomposition in the pond. All right. We requested assistance in searching this pond from the Indiana State Police dive team, who completed a dive on the pond, confirming that no one was located in the pond. On a later date, a sonar was placed on the pond, also confirming nothing was located in the pond. When speaking with the handlers for the cadaver dogs, we learned that water is known to hold odor. I was advised that it is possible that this could be associated with water runoff, or could just be the scent from another location that the wind is carrying and the water is maintaining the odor. It should be noted, on the date that this occurred, the wind was coming from the direction of Patrick Scott's other property, located at 2366 North Oak Street, Arlington. Investigators additionally requested a topography study to be conducted, which determined it is possible that the water runoff from Scott's property could drain into this pond. All very interesting to note, right? In obtaining further information from the applications that Scott was found to utilize, we were able to determine that the date after Tindall went missing, that Scott traveled to Home Depot, not Walmart, Home Depot in Greenfield, where he made the purchase of 4 2x4s and 2 sheets of 4x8 OSB. This guy's going to Home Depot and buying tarps. Oh, man. On the date of October 12th, 2023, a flyover was completed of the Scott's properties, during which time we were able to see on Scott's 2 properties multiple areas of obvious ground disturbance. Upon receiving this information, with the other information obtained in this investigation, it was determined that investigators would apply for a search warrant to search this property, to search for human remains as well as other items related to this investigation. On the date of November 27th, 2023, multiple probable cause affidavits were submitted to Judge Hill of Rush Superior Court, requesting multiple search warrants, including for the search of Patrick Scott's properties. Okay, on the date of November 28th, 2023, officers from multiple agencies converged on the properties located at 2394 and 2366 North Oak Street, Arlington, for the execution of the search warrants. They said there were at least 40 law enforcement officers, FBI, everyone was there, right? U.S. Marshals. Okay, so at the property located at 2366 North Oak Street, officers observed a large dirt pile with miscellaneous debris. During this time, this area became a focus because of the large dirt mound and hole observed. This area began being dug by utilizing shovels, during which time officers discovered a large homemade box out of OSB and 2x4s. This box was found to be wrapped in a tarp and was discovered to be greater than 5 foot long. When opening this box, it was discovered that it contained miscellaneous paperwork as well as VHS tapes. And I don't know about you, but the first time I read it, I got goosebumps, and I'm getting it again. There's a box, a homemade box, wrapped in a tarp. And inside this box is miscellaneous paperwork as well as VHS tapes. Oh, crap. Officers continued digging this area utilizing equipment. During this time, a second box was revealed. When this box was first discovered, an odor emitted from this box that I know from my experience as an investigator to be commonly associated with decomposition. This box was also discovered to be wrapped in a tarp, was a long rectangular box. Officers continued to dig this box out, eventually removing a box that was found to be constructed with OSB and 2x4s that strikingly matched the first box. This box, however, was wrapped multiple times and contained a strong odor of decomposition. Yes, Murray says a coffin with VHS tapes. That is so scary. Oh my goodness. So then this box was wrapped multiple times, contained the strong odor of decomposition. Additionally observed on this box was duct tape in the seam. Upon opening this box, something wrapped in a black plastic was discovered. I instantly observed this object to be the size of a human and instantly detected the odor of decomposition. This plastic was slowly opened, noting that it was taped and wrapped multiple times. Upon opening this plastic, human remains were discovered inside the box. I observed orange fingernails on these human remains instantly. Okay, for everyone asking what OSB is, Iman says OSB is like plywood but made with wood chips, or maybe you might know it as chipboard. Pistol Amy says a 5-foot box? How many freaking VHS tapes were in there? And that is, it makes me so scared. Oh my word. This guy's 59 years old. What has he been doing all his life? What's on those tapes? My heart goes out to the people that have to not only, unwrap these types of things, which I know they're well trained for, these investigators and the coroners and everyone, but also what they're going to have to look at those tapes. It can be extremely disturbing, potentially. We don't know what's on there, okay? But it doesn't sound good if it's wrapped in tarp and all of that, a homemade box. So they say, I observed orange fingernails on these human remains instantly. Upon reviewing social media, we were able to determine on a photo with Tindall, so Valerie, right, that on June 7th, 2023, she had matching colored fingernails of that which I observed the remains to have. I contacted Rush County Coroner Brenda McMahon at approximately 4:45 p.m., notifying her of the discovery, at which time she advised that she would be en route shortly. It was determined that Patrick Scott would be taken into custody for this investigation at that time. Officers from the FBI and Shelby County Sheriff's Department were sitting surveillance on Scott at the residence of 7304 North CR 600 West Shelby County. So I don't know if I think he was at work from what I remember. Because he wasn't on the property at the time. I think he was like, gotta go. Sorry, I gotta go. All right, so they say, I was notified a short time later that Scott was in custody, at which time U.S. Marshal Tom Abro, FBI Special Agent Jeff Robertson, and I went to that location where we took custody of Scott without incident. Linda Scott was also at this residence and was also transported by law enforcement to Rush County Sheriff's Department in regards to this investigation, which I would assume is his wife. Scott was transported to the Rush County Sheriff's Office, where he was placed in the interview room. Oh, but can we see those tapes eventually? I hope so. I know some states, like we saw with Sarah Boone, they release the tapes early. They release it before the trial even starts, which is always amazing. Like Brooks Hauk as well. He tried to get the judge disqualified for doing that, for releasing those interrogation videos or police interviews. So I don't know. I don't know if they would here, but I mean, I'll request it. If they do, they do. If they don't, we'll have to wait until the trial, right? Oh, Stefan says the VHS tapes must have been from his crimes 20 or more years ago. So scary. What a scary thought. Who knows? Could also be recent. Maybe they just do it like that, you know, to make sure that they're the only ones with copies, or I don't know, something like that. But it's not even like DVDs or something, or CDs. It's like VHS tapes. Oh my goodness. Okay. So they said Scott was transported to the Rush County Sheriff's Office, where he was placed in the interview room. Prior to speaking with Scott, I advised Scott of his Miranda warning. Scott confirmed that he understood his rights, and during the interview, Patrick Scott admitted to killing Valerie Tindall on the date of June 7th, 2023, at his residence. Okay? So, trigger bunny time. Don't get triggered by the trigger bunny, but trigger bunny time. Trigger warning, because now we're going to hear the details of what he says he did. Date, time, circumstance surrounding the incident. During the interview, Patrick Scott advised the following in regards to this investigation. Prior to advising Scott of his Miranda warning, he advised me that his wife and daughter don't know nothing. Okay. I asked Scott what happened to Valerie. Scott advised that Valerie... Oh, okay. Just brace yourself. We might have to get snarky. He advised that Valerie got carried away. Scott advised that Valerie tried to blackmail him into buying her a car. Okay, victim blamer. Scott advised that Tindall thought that she was going to seduce him, and it wasn't going to happen. Right. The guy that offers her a job, that is tracking her on Life 360, that's taking her to aquariums 2 hours away. That guy is saying, you know what? She was coming on to me. This beautiful 17-year-old she was trying to seduce me, and I wasn't going to have it. Yeah, he says she was trying to blackmail him into buying her a car. Okay, Scott advised that Tindall got carried away. Scott advised that Linda doesn't know about it, and advised that no one does. Okay, so that's the second time he's saying that, which to me just raises a red flag. Scott advised that Tindall tried to seduce him, and he wasn't going to have it. I asked Scott what he did to Tindall, and he advised he strangled her with a belt. You're getting Rex Heuermann vibes at this point. Scott advised he then moved Tindall into the office until the next day. Scott advised the belt is gone. He advised when he got home the next day, he made that box. Okay, when did you make the other box though? Because there were 2 boxes, but all right. Scott advised the hole was already dug, but advised it wasn't dug for that. It was dug for concrete. As if that story makes sense. That's scary. Imagine if he'd buried her in concrete. And actually, I don't want to really speculate that he is a serial killer. I'm just saying a crime of this level, you just never know what he's done his whole life, right? And so when I make references, it just reminds me of things. Like when he says that was dug for concrete, okay. And if he had this business and multiple properties and things like that, doesn't that give you sort of Gacy vibes? People speculated that John Wayne Gacy could have more victims, that he could have buried victims in concrete. So I'm just saying, that is so scary. There's nah, the hole was already dug. But not for that reason, not for those boxes. It was for concrete. Okay, but bro, you literally tore down the shed or the garage or whatever it was. You tore down that structure and burnt it, which I think would be a shed, right? I don't know how you're going to burn a garage. You burnt it. There was rubble there, and that's where these boxes were found, under that? Okay. I asked Scott what the other box was for, and he advised, put shit in. Sorry, I just had to say it like I think he said it. A few words. Put shit in. Scott advised that they were by his bedroom when he strangled her. Scott denied that him and Tindall were in a sexual relationship. He advised that Tindall was trying to come onto him, and Scott advised Tindall was going to tell people that he was making moves on her. Groomer alert. I'm hearing that language. I'm hearing a red flag. How about you? Oh, she was going to tell on you, is what I'm hearing. Okay, and Scott advised that Tindall was going to tell people that he was making moves on her. Scott advised, I wasn't going to have it. Scott advised that things got out of hand. Scott advised the belt was his and was the one he was wearing. At the time. Scott advised that he was fighting Tindall off. And he took it and threw it around her. Scott advised that Tindall had tried to take her clothes off. And he wasn't going to do it. Oh, like this is like maximum victim blaming, right? Goodness me. Okay, I know. Okay, we shall see what they say at the trial. But my word. Yeah, you say the reddest flags ever, right? Steel Guitar says, this is surely not his first rodeo. Scott advised him and Tindall had a pushing and shoving thing. Scott advised after he took his belt off and advised I put it around her neck and I held onto it until she quit. I asked Scott what was going through his head at that time, and he advised he didn't know what to do with her. Scott advised he was trying to figure out what to do with her. He advised he held the belt on her until she quit moving. I asked Scott if she knew she was dead, then, and he advised, I pretty much figured so. This guy has like no emotion, right? I've never seen him speak. But the way he's like, is to put shit in, his VHS tapes, which who knows what's on there. But even there, when he's like, yeah, I pretty much figured so. It's like, did you know she was dead? Pretty much figured so. Scott advised the next day he built the box in the backyard. Scott advised he put Tindall in it the same day he built it. Scott advised he built the box the day after Tindall went missing, which would have been June 8th of 2023. The same day that you were tearing down a structure and burning it. He advised he built this box the day after she went missing, right? June 8th, and Scott initially claimed he already had the lumber for the box. He denied going to get lumber and advised he always has scrap lumber lying around. Ooh, I wonder if that's going to be proven otherwise lately. I advised Scott of his purchases at Home Depot on the 8th, and he advised, maybe I did. I asked Scott if he remembers doing that, and he advised, I could have. Scott confirmed he went to mow the cemetery on the 8th. Scott advised during that time Tindall was in the office and advised he was the only person to have access in the office. I asked Scott when he got home on that date if anyone was home, and he advised nope. I asked Scott if anyone was home on the 7th, and he advised, I don't know if that means his kids or granddaughter or what. I asked Scott if he heard it, and Scott advised no, and advised that never came down there. Okay, not granddaughter then. Son? Maybe son. Okay. So then Scott confirmed that he drug Tindall into the office and claimed she was clothed. I asked Scott if she was clothed when he put her into the box, in which he advised she was. I asked Scott to tell me what Tindall had said about the car. I guess if he's admitting to all this, I don't know if there's going to be a trial. Right? There is a pre-trial conference set for, well, the next court date is January 2nd. But who knows? Maybe he'll just plead guilty at that point. I don't know. It just sounds like he's admitting to a whole lot over here. He's not hiding anything. Okay? So, I asked Scott to tell me what Tindall had said about the car. Scott advised when her car broke down, if her dad couldn't get it running, he would help her get another car. However, it would be a cheap car. Scott advised that wasn't suiting her and she was wanting a new car. I don't know about that. Sounds like you were dangling a nice new car to get her there on a day on which she wasn't working. I'm speculating. I asked Scott where was the belt that he used, and he advised he didn't remember. However, he still wore it after. Like, did he really have to say that? He's like, I don't know where it is, but I still wore it after. Okay. Scott admitted to leaving Tindall in the office as the family went about their evening. Scott admitted that Tindall remained in the office throughout the night. I asked Scott why he moved the car, and he advised because Elizabeth seen it. I don't know who that is, okay, but a witness. I asked Scott what he did with the license plate and keys, in which Scott advised, they're gone. I threw them in a river. Scott claimed to not remember what river. Scott denied Linda going over to move the car, which I think is his wife. Scott advised that he had parked his truck over there, and he got into the car and moved it over to Berwick. Then he walked back to South High Apartments. Scott denied anyone knowing anything and advised he never told anyone anything. I spoke to Scott about him and Linda going over and speaking with with Valerie's family. Scott advised he didn't remember what they talked about. I asked Scott how this has been since for him and asked him to explain to me how he has functioned like he has. And did he hate Tindall? Scott advised no, and advised that it all kinds of stuff together, like going out to eat, taking them shopping, etc. I asked Scott why Tindall came back to his home that day due to her driving to Shelbyville. Scott advised that Tindall wanted to go back to the house and advised that she didn't give him a reason. The story doesn't add up. He's like, meet me at this job site. Okay, let me drive you back to my house. But then he's like, she wanted to go there and I don't know why. She didn't give a reason. I asked Scott if Tindall put up a good fight and he advised, well, a little bit. I asked Scott how he wrapped the belt and he advised he didn't remember. Scott confirmed he held Tindall until she stopped moving and he confirmed that he knew she was dead. I asked Scott when he wrapped Tindall up and he advised the next day, June 8th. Scott advised this was done on the office floor. Scott was unsure if Alex was home during this time. Scott confirmed that he wrapped Tindall in whatever he had around there and confirmed it was black plastic. He confirmed he wrapped her and taped her several times. He advised it was to get rid of her. He advised he just wrapped her up in plastic and he put her in the box that he built. He advised he took the box he built into the house and he put her in the box in the house. Scott confirmed he screwed the box shut in the house. He then advised he took a 2-wheel dolly. Is that like a wheelbarrow? Right? And hauled the box across to his other property. Okay. Tough guy. Sure. Alyssa says he sure did, wearing his trophy around while visiting the victim's parents and telling them not to worry, she's going to be back. Oh, I know, right? This guy sounds so scary. Like, there's got to be more to this, right? I don't know if someone at 58 years old, he's now 59, just wakes up and does this randomly. Really worried about this guy. So Scott confirmed the hole was already there and confirmed it was deep enough when he got there. Oh, how convenient. Scott then admitted to covering her up and confirmed it was done with a shovel. Scott confirmed it was one of his shovels. I asked Scott about the other box and he advised it had been there since July. Okay, but she went missing in June. So that means he put the box with her in the ground June 8th. And then the other box on in July is according to him, right? Yeah, you guys say dolly is a moving trolley. Okay. 2-wheel dolly. Oh, I know what that looks like. Okay, I know what that is now. I've got a visual. Oh, thank you. So the other box with the VHS tapes had been there since July, he says. I asked Scott what Tindall was saying when this was happening, and he advised nothing that I remember. I asked Scott if Tindall was struggling when he was strangling her, and he advised, yeah. Scott advised he didn't say anything to her, and then he made the statement, I just knew she wasn't going to blackmail me. Oh, man. Scott advised that Tindall was going to tell everyone that he had his way with her, and that never happened. I object. I asked Scott if his plan was to kill her, and he advised, no, that just kind of happened. I asked him if it was because she was going to blackmail him, and he advised, yeah. So she was going to tell someone. Shame. I wonder how long that went on. So I asked Scott if this felt good, getting this off his chest, and he advised, I guess. I asked Scott if this bothered him that he killed Tindall, and he advised, well, I wasn't too crazy about it. Guys. Like, isn't this... Now you see why I said at the beginning of the stream, my eyes were this big before I started this live stream, because I'm like, I was reading this, it just came in, it's a brand new document, and I mean, my jaw is just on the floor. The way this guy talks, just like, yeah, well, I wasn't too crazy about it. That's what you say when you're admitting you killed a 17-year-old. And it's like, yeah, I just wasn't too crazy about it, but no biggie, basically. This interview in its entirety will be forwarded with this report to the Rush County Prosecutor's Office. After the interview, Scott was taken into the physical custody for the offense of murder. Scott was remanded to the custody of the Rush County jail staff. Medical aid given, pronounced dead, time by who? Upon opening the box that Tindall was located in, I observed the body was in an advanced stage of decomposition. She was obviously deceased at the time. So here they are confirming that it's Valerie Tindall. Medical examiner notified his actions. Rush County Coroner Brenda McMahon and numerous deputy coroners arrived on the scene. Upon arrival, the coroner McMahon was briefed on the investigation. The FBI evidence response team was on the scene and assisted with the removal of the body. Autopsy ordered, performed, conclusions, autopsy is scheduled and pending. Weapons or force used, Patrick Scott admitted to using his belt and placing it around Valerie Tindall's neck until she was deceased. Patrick Scott then moved Tindall's body into the office where he stored her for the night. The next day, Scott constructed a box and placed Tindall's body into the box after wrapping it in plastic and taping it. The box was placed in a hole at Scott's other property and then covered. Premises description. Scott resides at 2394 North Oak Street, which is the location Scott admittedly murdered Valerie Tindall. He then placed the body at his other property at 2366 North Oak Street. See, even that is extremely sadistic because that property where he placed her body is less than 100 yards from where her parents live. Oh my word. He literally put her right under their nose and then walked around with the belt on that he strangled her with. Suspect identification description. At this time, we observed fingernails on the subject's body that match Valerie Tindall's based on social media photos. Additionally, Patrick Scott admitted that he murdered Valerie Tindall and buried her in the box. Suspect and victim relationships. Valerie Tindall worked for Patrick Scott. Based evidence, their relationship was questionable as they seemed very close. Scott was found to provide Tindall with money, food, gas, and took her on trips. Dee's Creative Hand Crochet says, you are the best true crime YouTuber, hands down. Thank you so much. Witnesses. Okay, so we've got detectives and the FBI agents and everyone. Sorry, I just got a fright. I'm like, wait, who is the witnesses here? Okay, so all these officials. Witness observations. This investigation was primarily conducted by Detective Smallwood, Detective Herbert, Detective Hoeing, USMS Tom Abreu, and FBI Special Agent Jeff Robinson and myself. They did a good job. Oh my goodness. How many? 175 days from when she went missing to when she was to when her body was found. Wow. Sergeant Ratcliffe and Major Brinson assisted during the execution of the search warrant. FBI response team handled the processing of the scene, photographing evidence, packaging, and collecting. Evidence obtained. There have been multiple pieces of evidence confiscated as part of this investigation, which will be noted in a later supplemental report. Looking for that. Yeah, that's the thing. Amy, you say, why say a box? I thought it was a barrel. So did I. All the reports are saying she was found in a barrel, but this is a box. This is him saying he put her in a box. Good question. So, I trust the documents. How about you? It was a homemade box. So I guess it's from eyewitnesses yesterday. Media at the scene, probably looking like what's going on there. Maybe they saw a barrel near it or near the rubble. Probably. There's probably a barrel there. And they probably heard, oh my word, remains were found. And they put the two together, right? But it sounds like this is way more detailed. Remember, this is the updated information that came in 15 minutes before the stream. It's brand new. Like from the court clerk. Just came out. There was so many details. It's so scary. Oh my goodness. So multiple pieces of evidence. This latest supplemental report. That's going to be hectic. Alcohol or drug involvement, none known. Additional information. Through this investigation, there were supplemental reports and investigative reports noted in Law Case 231087, which will be included with this report to the Rush County Prosecutor's Office. Patrick A. Scott was taken into physical custody for the offense of murder. I affirm under penalties for perjury that the foregoing statements are true, and then, of course, sign. Well, it's not signed right now. Approved by, they still got to sign this one, clearly, but I'm sure they've got a signed copy there, right? Spillman Technologies, name summary report. Patrick Allen Scott. All right, there he is, 59 years old. Well, we've seen his mugshot as well. Date of birth 11/25/64. 5'10", 185 pounds. So 84 kilograms, they say. Blue eyes, gray hair. Whew. Isn't that hectic? Whoa, you guys. So, this case escalated quickly, huh? Wow. So Steel Guitar says, will you be defluffing and covering this trial? If it goes to trial, yes. I just wonder, based on him being so nonchalant about everything, you know, is he just going to confess and that's it? Is he just going to be like, oh, okay, I did it and that's it, you know what I mean? Like, he confessed. So what happens now? What's going to go on now? Okay. But if it's happening, sure. Maybe it depends. If they're streaming it and all that, you know, there's always many factors, but hopefully. Okay, now I can read some of your comments. Thank you all for being here. I don't think I could go through all of that for another round alone. Like, I already went through it all by myself today, and I was in this rabbit hole looking at everything on social media. There is also a Facebook group. Valerie Tindall Missing was the group that I only became aware of yesterday when I saw this news. You know, I saw some of this on X. My handle there is @TrueCrimeGizzler. And I was thinking, wait, what happened there? And so once I started looking at that case, I couldn't look away. It's been a very hectic day and a half or 2 days for me. Now you know everything that we know so far. Okay. And so let me just check. LEB from Tennessee says, you are covering so many cases right now. I can't keep them straight. That's why you got to get a notebook, right? All right. So Morley says they mistakenly named the box a barrel. Yeah, I'm sure, you know, because there was rubble there and stuff. I'm sure there was a barrel there. I wouldn't doubt that. I wouldn't think they would say barrel if there's no barrel in sight, right? And I say they, meaning mainstream media. They were there at the scene. They were looking and like, oh my word, what is happening? Because of course, locals, they knew that Valerie was missing since June 7th of 2023. And there was a big media presence as well when they drained the pond on October 11th of 2023. They really thought that day they're going to find something, answers, you know, are they going to find Valerie? Are there going to be answers? What happened? That day, unfortunately not. But yesterday, there were lots of answers and very sad, devastating. So Alyssa says, gee, thanks for this excellent live. I really do think this case wasn't widely known when she was reported as a silver alert. It's sad when cases don't get covered as much for the families. Yeah, I mean, I can't believe this case. And that I only heard about it yesterday. I'd never heard of it or seen it. And I'm like, wait, what happened here? And this guy, he said, what? It is, I mean, and even from the beginning, what an absolute mystery. Like, the way that he lied about everything, which is also on this, this long police report here. With him lying about her meeting him there and everything, right? How long have we been here? Have we been here too long? 2 hours and 8 minutes. I just quickly want to show you this. This was on June 26th. Okay, she went missing on June 7th. And so this is when, after this, he was charged with, misinformation. I located Scott at the Manila Mini Mart. He was sitting in his truck. I exited the vehicle, approached Scott, in which he exited his truck. I had my body camera activated. The following are details from our conversation and may not be word for word. He stated that he last heard from Valerie the Tuesday before the Wednesday that she left. This was his initial story. He stated he doesn't know where she's located, and he stated that he hasn't seen her car. I informed Scott that JV's car has been located. I informed him that it's believed that he may be assisting her. I informed him that it's believed that she was with him the day that she went missing. He stated that JV is not, so juvenile, right, is not at the Berwick apartments in Shelbyville. He doesn't know where she is. He said that JV asked him to park her car at the apartments. Scott stated that she took off on Wednesday afternoon. Scott stated the last time that he saw JV was Wednesday. He stated that she was with him in the red Ford Taurus on Wednesday. He stated he brought JV back to Homer on Wednesday and that he dropped her off in Homer near the old garage before the sampler. He stated he did not have her phone. He stated he did not take JV back to Arlington on Wednesday. He stated that he took her car from South High Gardens and parked it at the Berwick apartments. He then walked back to his truck at South High Gardens. Now, are you following that this is the information he previously gave? So if you just followed the updated information, this is the load of crap that he spoke before the time of like, I don't know, she wasn't there. She asked me to move the car, dropped it off like some guy's house. So it says he stated that he took the Ford Taurus to the South High Gardens apartments a day or two before Wednesday. He stated that he moved JV's car after he dropped her off in Homer. He stated that Valerie met him at South High Gardens on Wednesday. See, their story already started changing. He then drove her to Homer and dropped her off with a male subject. He stated the male was driving a little blue car, unknown make and model. Whoa, he's making up stories before this. This was still from June, okay? This was around June 26th, and he was already charged with that falsifying information on June 29th or so. So he makes up this male that he drops her off at with a little blue car. You've heard otherwise now. He stated that he went home. He stated it appeared that the blue car left and went towards Rushville. He stated he moved her car on Thursday, and then that he remembers her talking to a Brady and other male subjects. He stated that she did not tell him any plans other than that she was leaving and not coming back. I asked Scott to come with me to the sheriff's office for an interview. Okay? So this document, I'll put it, it's very long actually, so 11 pages, will be here forever. But it's basically just all his stories before and how he had moved the cars and things, you know, all the stuff he made up. Now you heard updated information. So I also don't actually want to confuse you, because you might be thinking, what is he saying there? We've heard the latest. We heard what he's now said actually happened, which matches the digital evidence and all of that. Okay? So I will put that document, all the documents, on Patreon as I always do. I'll update the post that I send out to you guys today on Patreon. And I'll add these documents to it, okay? So you don't have to worry about where it is. All right. So that was very hectic. Whew. What a case. What a guy. I can't believe how nonchalantly he answers. Like, it's just like, yeah, well, I wasn't crazy about it. That's how he talks about killing a teenager. I mean, that is such a giant red flag to me for the possibility of previous offenses. It's very scary. Yeah, Renee says Google searches will be next. No, I think so. Google searches, social media activity, and all of that. Yes. Okay. Angel Rayam says, let's be here forever then. It's my day off. I hope that you are enjoying your day off. Thank you all for being here with me to discuss these very sad topics. My goodness, it's shocking. This case is very shocking. So I hope that you are all okay. I hope that you guys there that are locals are doing okay, that you finally have answers in your community, because I know it's been, from what I've read, been bugging everyone since June 7th of what happened to Valerie Tindall. And how terrible. I'm going to just show you this one more time, just so if anyone hasn't seen her. This was Valerie Tindall, who, by his admission, Patrick Scott, the neighbor, and the guy who gave her a summer job and was going to buy a car and took her to aquariums and all that, he says he murdered her and strangled her with a belt. This is Valerie Tindall. She wanted to be a vet. She'd been doing really great at school this year. She was excited for her final year of school and then college, where she wanted to be a vet. Yeah, there's the mugshot. I just want to show you this one as well. So let's remember her like this. She loved animals. You can see her she's still got her Facebook profile still up if you want to check it out. And there's lots of pictures of her with animals. You can definitely see she loved animals. I mean, I love animals too, right? We all do over here, right? So sending lots of love to her family and friends. I don't even know what to say. It's devastating. Absolutely terrible. And to think that he buried her in a box with another box on top with VHS tapes and all kinds of creepy things, but right under their nose, and then went over there. Oh, it's just too much. It's too much, right? Okay. So, thank you all for being here. Make sure that you are subscribed, okay? Make sure your notifications are on, because usually you see me when I'm ready to bring you something. I don't have like a set day or time. I'm here most days, but if you don't see me, you know. I'm in a rabbit hole somewhere, okay? I'm bringing you some stuff. I'm working on something, and that's what I've been doing now as well. So if you want to not miss out on the next live stream, because as I say, I don't have a set time or day or something, make sure your notifications are on. If you haven't yet liked the video and shared it, please do it so that other people can learn about this. I see there's lots of people from Indiana that have never heard of this case either. So, Alyssa said, hearing you say that, G just gave chills down my back. Also, thanks to everyone for the stickers today. I did pop them on the screen. Thank you, mods, for thanking them for me. I'm going to go now afterwards and read them. And then I'm also going to be doing timestamps for all of you. If you only joined the stream now at the tail end or something, and you don't know what happened really here, don't worry. Go watch the replay. It'll all be chaptered out for you. Check the pinned comment or the description box, or just hover over the video and you'll see it all chaptered out for you. Okay? Just give me a little bit because it takes me some time to do, but I'm going to do it right now as fast as I can. Thank you, mods. I will see you all in the next one. Stay safe.